Hey there, my name is Jessub Flower. I am a screenwriter, educator, and all around learning, training, and development nut. And welcome to the My Favorite Teacher podcast.
Oh, my favorite teacher makes the rocking world go round.
That's right. Welcome to the My Favorite Teacher podcast. You just heard that new intro by Justin Ross. Thank you again, Justin Ross. We did a little mini-sode on that just to kind of tell about how that got created and everything. But without any further ado, I want to jump right into this because my guest today is somebody that I'm very excited about. I have grown to love and honor and cherish through our short time that we've known each other. But this guy is amazing. My guest today is an actor and producer. He has a huge IMDb list, but you would know him specifically for a lot of roles that he had in movies, but also in some pretty exciting shows like True Story with Kevin Hart, with Euphoria, The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, and most recently, he plays the horrible Jules Zablonsky in Black Rabbit on Netflix. Please welcome my guest, John Ailes, everybody. Welcome, John.
Jessub.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I am recovering from watching your role on Black Rabbit. You were
I know.
your performance was great, but your character was terrible. You were a horrible, horrible person on that show.
Yeah, that is true. Horrible, horrible. But I play so many villains. I think that people want likable villains.
Well, they do. But I remember that you kind of got into a situation where there's a few of those kind of like Greek speaking like gangster mafia type roles that you were landing for quite a while, right? Like
Yeah, there was a year of Greeks. Yeah.
And then a lot of Greek speak and everything like that. And then obviously you were a villain ish in our movie in From Black that you were in that I helped co-write. And
Debatable.
like that. Debatable. I like
Right.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, Abel wouldn't see himself as a villain, of course.
No way. None of these guys are bad guys, in my opinion. That's
exactly. That makes the best. That makes the best.
They
type
do
of a
bad
guy.
things.
Hmm? How did it go about getting the Black Rabbit role? Was that just a straight audition, or did you know somebody?
That was an audition with Alexa Fogel, and in fact, someone just recently asked me for that tape because I do. I'm pretty good at self-taping. I'm sort of proud of how good I am at self-taping, and I coach actors at self-taping. And somebody said, I want to see the audition for that. And the thing is, there wasn't one because it was the first audition was just me and Alexa Fogel on a Zoom.
That's
and then
great.
The next one was with Jason Bateman on a Zoom, and I really wanted to work with that guy. He was actually top of my list anyway.
That's amazing.
So it was really good. The role on paper was, also it's not a very meaty amount of screen time, but the role's always looming in the background. So.
Always. Yeah, I always wanted to know, and not just because I knew you, but I always, watching the show, I was always wanting to know when he was getting back in the picture. Because, he was a really interesting just catalyst as far as what happened in that story.
Yeah. But
really
there's also
cool.
so much time you want to spend with a sexual assaulter.
Yeah.
On screen.
Of course. Yeah, that makes absolute sense. And then I know that you don't care about this so much, but have you noticed that you probably have that because of Black Rabbit and this stuff recently, you are now number 6 on the star meter on IMDb. Which
they're gonna change it.
No. Which for those people that are listening that don't know, because I have a lot of teachers that listen to this and they may not know. That simply means that a lot of people are looking you up. A lot of people are typing in your name and trying to figure out who you are, which is really cool. I mean,
we're normally an actor like me. I'm in the hundreds normally, or 1,000, somewhere in there. And it's a few friends all at one time kind of started texting me, but really the first person to text me was the woman who wrote Kate Sussman, and
Really?
Her husband Zach texted me to say, "You've been on this list for a couple of weeks." That's they were like, "Keep it up," and I'm like, first of all, I would have no idea. Like I would have.
I know
no
you
idea,
don't check that kind of stuff.
I do think it's hilarious, and I think it's a glitch, but. Who knows? Maybe people are actually like stopping and looking the actor up. Who plays
it is literally Robert Redford, Jason Bateman, John Ailes. And then
Well,
Jenna
don't forget,
Ortega below you.
above that is Paul Thomas Anderson and Leo and
Of
May,
course.
that comedian. Uh,
But it's exciting, man. That just means that people are checking you out and seeing
I
what's.
hope so. I mean, that'd be great. I've been doing this for so damn long.
Yeah. How long
I
have you
know.
been acting, John?
Yeah, I mean, acting. I was in junior choir as a 6-year-old at church doing plays, you
Okay.
know, and then in school all the way through, starting kind of. I think I started seriously in like 8th grade,
Mm-hmm.
and very seriously in 10th and 11th and 12th, and then I went to college for it.
Right.
Though I told my parents I was going to business school, I was going to
Nice.
theater school.
They never knew. They never knew that you were.
Well, I didn't apply to a lot of schools because I wasn't like a standout student in high school. So
Okay.
I applied to Cal State Northridge, which is my local Cal State school. And my dad knew the head of the business department. So he was like, Jimmy's going to be overlooking what you're doing. And I said, okay. So I went to CSUN. I talked to Jimmy and I was like, I'm taking all these theater classes, but I'll take a business class, but I'm taking all these
Sure.
theater classes.
Sure.
And so a couple years of that. And then I went and really studied back east. And that was it.
That's awesome.
Off
But
to the races.
you, as far as your place in the business, though, you didn't just do acting. Like you had a lot of stuff that you did behind the camera. You did a lot of stuff with special effects and things like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I was a photographer when I
Mhm.
was in conservatory acting school. I was also just spending all my cash on film, so I was shooting pictures a lot. And then finally, when I started to act and shoot at the same time, and digital started to take over, it became sort of evident that I also liked to shoot video, so I started to shoot documentary stuff. And after a few years of that, a good friend of mine was Stan Winston's son,
Yeah.
Matt Winston, and Stan Winston was basically he and Rick Baker and
Yeah.
were kind of at the top of the special effects industry, and Stan had just passed away, so he asked if I would produce and shoot uh,
A doc, right?
well, actually, educational
Oh,
videos, hour-long educational videos with his top 10 artists. And so once we did that 10, we were in the middle of doing 10, and he had 20 more scheduled because these
wow.
guys, everyone who worked for Sam, man, woman, child, for Stan, would do anything for him.
Sure.
So, interesting thing, Jessub, and I actually, the impending AI kind of
Yeah.
wiping the world clean of actual labor. The one of my favorite things in the world has always been online education. Since I started there, I just feel like you can learn so much online. Video for me is the number one way I
Mhm.
learn. So that school ended up doing. I did 175 4-hour courses with them
That's amazing.
to demonstrate what visual effects, special makeup effects people do in all disciplines of that world.
Wow.
And because they did that, because I was part of that, it is completely democratized that industry. Like before that, there was no access at
Mm-mm.
all. You could
No.
barely buy a book that showed you what those details.
Maybe some magazines, like little teeny articles, and
Gloria, like what's on the picture, what's on his desk, what is she using to punch on the picture?
Right.
It's like almost nothing, and then they open the door. Now anywhere we go, and you saw it in Mississippi,
Yeah.
we were able to access people who knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it's because it's online.
Now,
And
does that still live somewhere, John?
the Stan Winston School?
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah,
you helped.
it is the number one
Awesome.
education point for anyone who does special makeup effects. If you ask anyone on any movie or television set who does it,
Amazing.
I go, I was the creative director of that school. They're like, really? The
That's
Stan
cool.
Winston School? Holy hell. Like these people, they got the top 200 artists in the world teach for them. Just
You know
one
what's
time.
funny too is that I know, like you said, AI is becoming a more and more of a thing every day, and of course CG is still ubiquitous and all that kind of stuff. But it's amazing how many pictures are going back to practical. They are going back to kind of some of those things and making sure that it's visceral and it's real and they can see it, because it is a tactile thing.
There are
It's definitely something that you
filmmakers who
can see.
and then you and Thomas too. Like we got to do I'm From Black, mostly practical,
Yeah.
enhanced digitally, but mostly practical effects. And as we both know, like growing up with that stuff, if you marvel at it later because of the feat of doing it on set like that, but
Mhm.
also the performances are just better because
Yeah.
the alien pops out of the chest for the first time in front of the cast that they don't know that
They
that's
don't know.
happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's nothing like that. Like look at their face, look at that minute of film is insane.
It's insane.
And that was before Stan was part of that group. Stan did the second
He did
Aliens.
Aliens, right? With
Yeah,
John Carpenter. Yeah.
yeah.
That's amazing.
But
Well,
yeah, practical.
so with all of that, right? I mean, you were involved with education and all of your stuff as far as just anything in the industry. Is that what you always wanted to do? Like when you were in school and you were think back of, little John Ailes running around, not considering his number 6 on the IMDb list. He's just thinking he's number 6 in line for the lunch lady or whatever it is. What did you want to do that kind of stuff when you're in school?
To be an actor?
Yeah, or anything in the movie world.
Yeah, I always since I was doing plays, acting is what really turned me on, and I mean movies and television kind of felt like a different person. Like I felt like I was meant to be there already, but not strive to get there.
Gotcha.
However, I always wanted to be on stage. Acting was a real, like, it just was something that I gravitated toward.
Okay.
So it kind of did hold that first 2 years of school was kind of like I was telling my parents I was doing business, but it was like all I wanted to do was act.
Sure.
And so I ended up going on exchange to be a conservatory acting student, which is like nothing but acting. And I mean, school is school. All you want to do is get through college just so that you understand what interfacing with other human beings is and networking and school is like learning how to learn.
Well, I mean, honestly, the first time you get to college, which is why it's actually something that's one of the still great things, is you start to take classes of I really want to learn about this. You know what I mean? This is what I want to focus on and everything. So that makes it kind of helpful for sure.
Yeah.
So you wanted to be stage though, primarily, more than film or TV.
I did, yeah. I did. And I had some opportunities to be in stuff when I was younger. When I was in elementary school, so I got picked out of some filmmakers came to our class and were just watching us play and asked my mom if I would do this one short film. But for some reason, I was all hung up. There was a naked woman in it that I was supposed to be interacting with. And I was just not, I was in third grade or something and I was odd about it. So I didn't do that. But I did some other stuff when I was little. There's a movie made by a Greek out there that I was in. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I was like 10 years old, 11.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Well, so it sounds
you
like...
know why?
Good.
I'll tell you why. When I was I was a Greek Orthodox kid. My parents are Greeks. In Los Angeles, there's a church called the St. Sophia Cathedral. My grandfather was on the board, and he and my grandmother were part of the team that built that place. It's a Hollywood kind of icon. And there's a boy my exact age in Sunday school. We all grow up together in the Greek community. If you go to that church, you know each other from the time you're born. And so he was about 5-6 years old, and Andy Lambros was the kid on the pier who sings BOLOGNA for the first time.
No way.
Yeah, with the fishing pole, Oscar Mayer. And he and his family paid for his college, paid for a house. I mean, that particular thing. And he also did movies. He was in the movie Fatso. He played a young Dom DeLuise. He was in. So anyway, there was an agent, a Greek agent woman who handled him. And she was handling me, sort of. But it was like these things came up and I was like, no. But I wasn't really successful at it. But I had a little run when I was a kid of trying to see what he was doing. Yeah.
Basically, you were a child star. That's what we're saying. A child star in the Greek Orthodox Church.
Totally. I can tell you the things I auditioned for, but it's no one would even remember the show. Oh, Mork and Mindy, but that's...
You auditioned for Mork and Mindy as a child?
Do you remember the character that comes in? Oh my God, Jonathan Winters plays an alien.
He was like the son
from
I
Orc.
think.
Right, he's a grown-up, but he's a kid.
Yeah.
So an elder comes down, and he's like a 12-year-old kid. And so I was up for that for a couple of weeks and then ended up casting someone else. But I thought, oh my goodness, like, I'm 12. You never think it's going to happen. But
that's insane.
In LA, you try these things.
Absolutely. Well, you would have had, it sounds like you would have had direct scenes with Robin Williams too. That would have been insane.
They did. Yeah,
Wow. Wow.
that kid
Okay.
did.
Well, that's pretty amazing.
Son of a bitch.
That's okay. That's okay. You're past it now. You're on your own trek and on your own trajectory. So, talking about school and all those things, John, this is, I mean, the whole point of the podcast is really our kind of catch line is every great person has a favorite teacher. So, I will ask you this question, and it may be more than one, but I mean, in those times that you were in school, did you have a favorite teacher? Who were they, and why?
And since you told me you were doing this, I think it's a really great concept for a
Thanks.
show. But in my particular case, I have a list,
Yeah.
right? There's a favorite teacher in almost every phase of my life. Um, and there was I have a very distinct list for every kind of point of where I was learning things. I was a third grader who was one of five third graders that was put in a fourth grade class.
Okay.
That teacher was Mrs. Hand. She looked after the five of us, but particularly me. She let me
Hmm.
do some very particular writing and performing as a third grader in a fourth grade class where the kids
Interesting.
would normally want to pass by us. She kind of highlighted the talents that we had.
Huh.
But me, for in particular, she had me writing a story about, it was like the Peter the Pied Piper. It was a pipe. But it was an anthology that I kept writing over the
Oh,
years. So
wow.
she let me every month like sit down and read it. Mrs. Hand, she was really great.
That's
And then when
amazing.
I got into high school, my guitar teacher David Ferguson. Never forget that, this guy who was a bluegrass teacher, a really great guitar player, and he's teaching me Mel Bay.
Come on.
I shouldn't have been in his presence. The guy was so talented, but he had so much patience and love for
Wow.
the instrument. He was willing to share that patience in the instrument with me for 6 years, and I sucked. Um, uh, Mrs. Weiner, my high school teacher, high school drama teacher.
Okay.
She was the one who ran play production. She was the one who, we skipped classes for to do plays with her for those last 2 years of school. Uh, Never forget, she bonded 40 students together for all these years. 40 years later, we went to her funeral together, and I mean, that kind of thing.
Right.
Um, I'll never forget in that same period, Mrs. Dunlop was my AP English teacher who was such a hard ass,
Mm.
but about literature, American literature, and she just extolled the virtues of knowing these classics, whether we wanted to or not.
Right.
But the discipline that kind of I learned from being in her class, um, will never forget certain kind of work ethic points that exist for me, certain kind of respect that I have for elders. She would literally, when she was going to be absent, she either had planned it or it was an emergency, and somehow got in that morning to write DEM on the chalkboard,
Okay.
which meant don't embarrass me,
Wow.
so that we knew that we were representing her to this substitute who was coming in,
Wow.
right? And I never ever forgot that. I'm 56, I was 17 in her class.
Can I park
Uh,
on that for just 1 second?
yeah.
I've had a lot of guests that have talked about one of their favorite teachers were strict, or they had some severe guidelines, or they were no nonsense or whatever it was. Why would it almost seems that it's across the board that they have landed in a place that says, man, and they were my favorite teacher. Why do we think that is? Because honestly, maybe in today's standards, or just like if you were to just kind of throw that out, you hate the strict teachers.
I think that's a temperament thing. I think that some people resist it, right? I know certainly my best friend in school resisted any authority.
Okay.
My daughter, who's now 24, was a skater and only responded to the Russian, just like the toughest of
The
the
hard
coaches.
nose.
Yeah, the really hardest.
Wow.
And I think it's a temperament thing. Don't you? I
Interesting.
mean, I don't know if everyone, maybe we just appreciate that people don't let things slide if we're evolved adults.
I
Maybe.
think that has a part of it, and this gets to be a far deeper conversation than I've had on certain ones, because It's something I think that is instilled in the student itself that responds to that. And it's almost like, and I've heard this theory before, and I wish I could pull where it was from, but it's like if you set a child in a room that is absolutely full of toys and full of everything that they want to do, and just the sky's the limit, they tend to kind of, get disenfranchised with it. They kind of get bored or whatever it is. But then I've heard the very same child that you put into a situation where there's like like a playpen, like a boundary, basically, and so you can play with these toys, and then the other ones are off limits. Like the science has shown that they tend to do well within that boundary. Now, it's not like I'm this proponent of, we need to set more boundaries and higher boundaries, but there's a weird aspect that certain students respond well to that, because mine was the same way.
Right, but as parents in our generation, you and I, Gen X, we let more slide.
We tended to, huh?
I don't know about you, but I know that my wife and I, and almost all of our friends, like, we were more supportive of every single thing. Didn't want to see our kids struggle or suffer, and it's to the detriment of that generation. I'm not saying that they didn't benefit in other ways. My kid is like super resilient because of the things that she ended up doing too. But like, we did definitely try to make everything okay all the time.
Right.
My parents did not have that luxury. In our generation, food was more important, mortgage, religion, family, culture.
Sure. I just thought that was fascinating. I mean, just that there's so many that have said, I liked her so much because she didn't let me get away with anything. And I just, it's a through line that I want to discuss further. And I'm interested to see future guests if they say the same thing.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the list for sure. I mean, that's exciting to hear about that. I love the fact that you had several. You're the first one to have a list, which I love, right? I love when we have a different guest that has a different take on stuff. When you think of all those teachers, right? And especially the one, for some reason, I gravitate toward the one that pulled you aside and saw something in you. What do you think she saw in you and the other little 6 that she had in that little 4th grade class?
I would imagine my desire to make people respond and laugh and pay attention, right? I mean, I'm sure I was demonstrative and full of energy. I know I was full of energy into my mid-20s. People would go, where does that come from? Like, it's exhausting. Like in a Robin Williams kind of like calm it down, right? Like, not that I was as talented as he, but I was constantly like trying to run and run. Maybe she saw that and was just like, this is a good project. Writing means he can't jump around, so he'll write and then he'll read it.
Well, what's interesting about that too is, that teacher decided to do that instead of coming down hard on you or, punishing you for, excess energy, or referring you to some kind of specialist who would say, well, it looks like they just have ADHD and have to get some kind of, medicine prescribed to them or something.
Totally.
Like that. So that's amazing. If you were to have any of these teachers that do you know if any of them are still with us?
Mrs. Weiner passed away. Mrs. Hand's way gone. Mrs. Dunlop has got to be way gone. I mean, my college favorites are still around. A couple of them. But no. 40 years later, they would have been, in their 90s. Some of these. Interesting. Many of them were older. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah, mine too. I had a lot of older teachers as well. Well, wherever they are, a glass off to the favorite teachers. There it is. So, that offered some kind of a support for John Ailes and helped to shape him the way he would be today. So that's very cool. John, thanks so much for sharing that. That's really, it's an absolute pleasure to hear those stories. It's our time now in the show that, if you're okay with it, I'd love to talk about plugs, like things that we talked a lot about things that you're in currently right now. Is there anything up and coming that you want people to check out or see or anything like that?
No, Black Rabbit is the thing that's out right now that everyone's paying attention to. And next year I am very pleased that I play a character in the Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey.
I
So,
wasn't sure if you were going to talk about it, so I was
yeah, I
hoping that
think
that
I'm
would be there.
allowed to because everyone else has announced.
Well, you're
I
not
won't
saying
tell.
anything. You're not saying your role or anything like
Right,
that or
I'm
who
not
you're
talking
with.
about the role, but
No,
I got to be on that set, and it was pretty cool. And certainly, I know it's sold out for the first week on IMAX, which is kind of insane. They
that's
sold it out a
insane.
year in advance. But no, right now the business is kind of quiet. I'm
I
up for a
know.
couple things. I'm coaching a lot, and
Good.
my younger guys and women are out there auditioning a lot, but my age people are auditioning less.
Which, now that you realize that the fact that you did education with the special effects thing, and now technically you're being kind of an educator in terms of teaching people how to
100%.
self tape. So
100%.
maybe John Ailes, I'll interview somebody that they will name you their favorite teacher.
So I have a couple who might.
That's amazing.
Just for $50.
Absolutely. Yeah, whatever you can slip them makes sense. What about on socials? Are you on socials? Do you want people to find you on there at
Yes, I
all?
am John Ailes on Twitter. I am John Ailes on Twitter.
Okay.
I am John Ailes on Twitter. And then what am I at Blue Sky? I think I'm John Ailes at Blue Sky.
Okay.
And I think I'm Jackass Dog at Instagram. But
That's the one I'm familiar with.
I used to use Instagram a lot because I'm a photographer, but it started being more about video, and I do
Yeah.
less personal social media video. It was all photos for me. But I'm an addict for all this bad stuff. So
I know. Yeah, I'm waiting for Jackass Dog to get a TikTok and start messing around with TikTok. That's what I'm waiting
I
for.
think I'm going to start teaching cooking on
Oh,
TikTok.
I forgot all about that. You do sourdough like crazy.
I do. So I'm gonna. A lot of people have asked me to do videos on my bread making, so that'll probably open me up to do other the kinds of foods that I cook. Simple stuff, but stuff that you can feed yourself and your family
Yeah.
fast and healthy and delicious.
Oh my gosh.
Because
I
that's
know.
kind of my. That's
I've
my.
had the privilege of having some of your sourdough. It's fantastic. So,
That's right.
hmm
I'm gonna bring it to you. And I also think I might do it. I might do I should have done it 10 years ago when we had the idea, just to do an online course in self-taping, auditioning
I think
itself.
that's a great idea.
But it's like I don't know. The business may not be here. Uh,
Well, I mean, yeah, that's a
uh,
whole nother thing for sure. But I mean,
yeah,
people will still always be looking to try to get in things or make their own things or whatever it is. So,
it's true. It's true. And I have a lot of insight in auditioning and also success at auditioning. So
and the tools that we have now, you can create such a professional product that people just, if
it's
they have a
the
little bit of time and a little
truth.
bit of knowledge behind it.
Little bit of knowledge, and you're already doing the tape. Might
Yeah,
as well choose a good shot, and
might
then
as well
the
make it
rest
nice.
is easy. Yeah.
Good.
Well, I'm very proud of you. I think this is
Thank
a
you.
great project, and I wish you great success in it.
Thank you. We hope that it will be. I mean, our goal, and the people that listened all the way to the end get sick of me saying this, but I have to do it. The goal is to put some positivity out there in the air. Put some positivity out during this kind of just a little bit crazy time in our world, so that people hear, oh, that's right. People care about other people. They care about students. They want to put their best into them. And then especially for teachers, because I have a soft spot in my heart for teachers, and just any teachers that watch our show. You may be in the dregs, you may be in the trenches, but hang in there, because your work affects people and it causes them to be successful in the future. So thank you, everybody out there, for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, do all the subscribe stuff that you're supposed to. Would love to get some more reviews on the Apple Podcast or on Spotify. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much again to my guest, John Ailes. You're the best.
You're
Love
the
you,
best. You're the
man.
best writer. You're the best. You're the best.
Oh, you're so kind. All right, everybody, be nice to somebody out there. Thanks so much for joining us, and take care. We'll see you next time.
Bye.